Okay, so now I found out that loaded internal rotation and hip adduction causes me discomfort, so it's just a matter of figuring out how to train around that. I wanted to see if at least deadlifting was not going to give me too much pain, and I could still feel it, but it wasn't that bad. I decided to stick to sets of triples with 120 kilos, which are about 75% of what my last max was. And I was supersetting that with some overhead presses. At first, I started off with a few warm-up sets with the elastic band, and then I did something with just the empty bar, and it felt good. I was doing them for a good 10 repetitions without any annoyance, and then I put 5 kilos on, and those 30 kilos started giving me a bit of kind of pain as I am extending my shoulder. Reaching 90 degrees seems to be the worst point. At that time, I really need to focus on releasing that muscle that is always tight, and which is causing me the pain when I raise my arms overhead. So I need to go very slow and controlled. And I noticed that if the weight is above maybe 25 to 30 kilos, I start having to concentrate way more on trying to get the movement right. When it's up to 20 kilos, the shoulder smoothly goes up. So it's probably telling me that this is the way that I should be using to rehab this in this range of motion at least. This is the last set with the deadlift. I did 3 sets of 3 with 120 kilos, and yeah, at least I can do deadlifts with a reasonable weight. I don't think that I would be able to do loaded squats, but what I'm thinking to experiment with is also going to that good girl, bad girl adduction, abduction machines, and see how they feel. I will probably do that in the next session, and just to assess how the situation is when I am going into deep hip flexion. I was just doing some body weight walking lunges, trying to keep a bit of a wide stride just to see what happens when I load the leg. And I noticed that stretching doesn't really give me that much annoyance, but loading the leg into hip flexion as I am stepping forward is giving me a bit of a kind of a discomfort, let's call it. And I was finishing off with sets of high reps on the elevated push-ups. These always give me a good feeling, so I'm going to very high repetitions, so maybe I can actually lower the height. Ciao.